Hi, welcome to CC Davis Studios. This is my video starting with the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 8. This will be part 1 around gathered things, a bit of my ideas around the background, what I'm gathering to do the stitchery, and some of my ideas. So I hope you enjoy. I'll share some of the things that I've gathered so far. It won't be all of it, and my ideas might change as I go along. So what I'm thinking is doing a printer's tray. So I love things like miniatures and little knickknacks and things like that you know, probably aren't very meaningful or useful, but they're just joyful and I really love them. So I was thinking of having 9 panels that are finished size. At the tray size would be about 50 centimeters by 40, so 50 centimeters by 40 centimeters. And then in each of the trays having different compartments where I can put some of these gathered gorgeous little trinkets. And I was thinking things like, what have I got in front of me? I'm at my desk in my room. Things like, I've got little cats. Aren't they beautiful? Just little broken things that I do love. Got another little one. They were just like cracker charms that used to get their glass. They're absolutely beautiful. Things like that. Maybe having a picture of my dog, so thread painting a picture of my dog who's passed away. Her name was Gladys. Gladdy is what we called her. And a lovely lady on the internet made that for me as a memorial to our beautiful little dog. And she's gorgeous, absolutely love her. So things like that, random things like game pieces. I've got this, see, I collect really random things. Things like a dice, or a lovely lady on the internet also makes these teeny tiny little creatures. Look how little that little mouse is. Isn't that beautiful? So a little mouse might make its way into there. I love runner ducks as well. I think they're so silly. So a little runner duck may have to, look at their silly necks. Oh, very dusty. Don't mind me. Too busy crafting. I like anything to do with Victorian you know, skulls and things like that. So Victorians were very interested in the natural world and sculptures and skeletons and things like that. So I love all of that kind of thing, and I have a lot of Victorian collections. This is not, of course, this is just stone. But you know, it might be creepy to some, so look away if you don't like those kinds of things. But I like lots of different types of things, little doll heads. So I love faces. I draw as well and paint a little bit, so I love anything to do with that kind of thing. So there's sort of my thoughts as a bit of a printer's tray. I've got a bit of a thought here. So the printer's tray could look like that. So 9 panels and different compartments. Finished sort of size of the trays would be 50 centimeters by 40 centimeters. So they're sort of my thoughts at the moment. So if you've got any other ideas, put them in the comments. I'll show you some of the things that I've gathered. Oh, I'll show you a printer's tray first, if you don't know what a printer's tray is or what I'm kind of meaning. These are a couple that I have around my house that I've just collected things in. It'd be good if I could find it. I had the photos all ready to go. 1 second. Get out of there. Here we go. So some of the ones that I have around my house that are unfinished, I've got a whole lot of other things to put in them, but you know how it is, you collect as you go. The ring light's really giving it something, isn't it? So not sure how dark that is. But like there's the mouth of truth. I've had a go at making that previously. It kind of looks like a demented lion, but there we go. So there's the mouth of truth. I had a go at trying to make that. Not great, but there you go. Go back to here. So maybe some things like some photos up in the background, some old photos that I could thread paint, some sculptures, ballet shoes. I used to be a dancer a very long time ago. You wouldn't know it to look at me now. Look at that light. So things like that is what I'm thinking. I love all little things and trinkety things. Has to have a pixie in there somewhere because I love pixies, naughty pixies. I love little animals that are, you know, from old little sets like Britain sets. I think game pieces would be fantastic to have. So things like knucklebones or five stones or jacks or whatever you call them. We call them jacks. Little ladies, any sculptural kinds of things. Little piggies. I really like piggies and sheep. And any natural items as well. So some of these are natural stones and things like that. Little jars would be cute. So I'll start to gather pieces of material that might show those as well. And this is another one. This is a really old printer's tray, this one. So I haven't been able to get the ink. So all that ink in the background, I haven't been able to get the ink off that. So some clocks. This is the most beautiful brooch that was made for me by a lovely lady on the internet as well, who's just very kind to me. And I love The Girl with the Pearl Earring, painting by Johannes Vermeer. So it's beautiful. Snow babies you can see in there as well as a little snow baby. If you ever want to have it, if you're interested in that kind of thing, I'm happy to show you them close up one day. And this is a very, very old kaleidoscope that my dad gave me when I was quite young. He had it when he was young as well. So lovely little things like that is what I'm thinking for my printer's tray. So what have I gathered so far? So I'm thinking of doing it all on calico. So doing all the parts on calico, and then possibly, let's see how enthusiastic I get, by making the compartments of the tray in brown. So there's some brown material. I might go with ribbon because it might be easier. I've also got this kind of material. And then maybe putting, if it's ribbon or even if it's the material, being able to put some kind of wood grain design in there as well. So that's my thoughts. So I will do each panel separately because I think it will be easier to manage. Then I've got the beautiful Roxy Girls. So Sarah and Rachel are just the kindest women, so encouraging, very talented. I met them all at Corinne's workshop last week. Yes, last week. Gosh, time's flying past. I'm on school holidays at the moment, so I'm really into holiday mode, which is just so lovely. It's been a really busy term, long term and a busy term. And it's really lovely to go away with like-minded, lovely women and just play with all the things that we love to play with, threads and materials, and yeah, just absolutely lovely. So whilst we were there, the Roxy Girls had a little bit of a pop-up. So Rachel's material. Hey Rachel, hi Sarah. Just feel like really met some lovely kindred spirits there as well. And the beautiful Corinne who ran this retreat is just the most kind, giving, generous woman who brings together women and creates an atmosphere of just kindness and joy in the things that we do, and absolute companionship and camaraderie that you don't find often, and yeah, really building up other women. So thank you, Corinne, and thank you for putting it all together. I know it can be really a lot of work and quite stressful putting retreats together, but it was just a glorious time in Hervey Bay. And I've never been to Hervey Bay before, and I've never been on a retreat before. So it was, yeah, the most joyful thing, and I really filled my cup up. So thank you so much for that, Corinne. And yeah, Sarah and Rachel, it's been lovely to meet you and encouraging me to maybe film some of the things that I do as well. I do lots of different types of art. This is just one of the types of art and craft that I do. I make, you know, lots of other little bugs and things. I'll show you one. So these will make an appearance for a very smaller version. So if you don't like bugs, look away now. So this is just a little bug that I've beaded. Used a bit of wire, so I'll make some smaller ones of those, I think, to put on. They're just on felt. I won't make them maybe as 3D. Maybe I will. I would like to have a little bit of dimension, a little bit of sparkle, because I love a bit of sparkle. So I like a gorgeous bug. It might be frightening. Here's a little spider, so sorry if you're a bit scared of these kinds of things, but they're just a little beaded spider. So yeah, I make those kinds of things. These are just on the mirror that I have in front of my desk. What else is there that I can show you? So those kinds of things might make a bit of an appearance, and I'll make some of those. So yeah, I do lots of different things for art and craft. I've always loved that kind of thing. I do painting and, you know, just making other things. So, you know, on this channel I will do some of those. If you're interested in seeing how I make the little bugs as I go along, I'm really happy to do that too. And if you're interested in seeing how I am going to make the printer's tray, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts, if you can think of other things that I could add. But the beautiful Roxy Girls really inspired me to look at, you know, doing something a bit different that brings in together all of my joys and all of the things that I love. So I'll be using some of Rachel's gorgeous material. Look at that. So these might be in the background of some of the compartments and then have things in front of it. So like what I showed you before. So it might have some things sitting in front of it, which looks pretty cool. Just depends. So lots and lots of options, and things will change as I go along, which is part of the delight of it, isn't it? But look at these beautiful materials. Please go on the Roxy Girls website and have a look at the beautiful things that they have there. They're just stunning. So look at this. I mean, she lives in Italy, Rachel, and just gets the most gorgeous ephemera and prints them onto fabric. Isn't that just lovely? I love this kind of thing, so it's beautiful to have, and I'll be using some of those. And then I really love portraits and images and faces, and Rachel has done a whole set of these. Look at those. Look at the colours in that. Oh, stunning. Oh, it's skewering a unicorn. Oh, probably a bit macabre, so we'll just do that. But little chubby babies. But that's sort of, yeah. So they're lovely. Look at that. Doesn't that remind you of Jane Austen? I love a bit of Jane Austen. I love the Victorians and the weird things that they collected and did. Beautiful things. So some of those will be used. And while we're in Hervey Bay, so thank you, girls. While we're in Hervey Bay, we also went to Howard Drapery, and what a lovely place. So if you're ever in Hervey Bay, go to Howard's Drapery, because they've got the most amazing array of fabrics, haberdashery, everything really. So have a look at what they've got, because it was fantastic. I tried not to go too crazy, but they did have this material. This is the end of bolt. So but look at that. Won't they be great to have behind some of the compartments, or as the compartment? Maybe something a little bit little in front of it as well. So that will be really nice to use, I think. One of the having a little cat or something in front of that would be just stunning too, wouldn't it? So if you can think of it being like that, yeah, gorgeous. So I'm thinking of using this as well. So this is what I've collected. Put that there, and then they also had like old advertisements on. Lovely. Look at that. Look at her with the bird. Isn't she sweet? So lovely, lovely things. Bizarre. That I can add to that as well. That bird. Chubby baby. Gorgeous things. So, little cat in the hat. So I'll be looking at those and seeing what I can add and whether or not they'll work. I'm trying not to buy too many things and just use all the things that I have in my stash. But what I'm finding is I don't have as many little images of people or little trinkety knick-knack things. This is another one. Different things on that one. Advertisements, but also like, you know, postcards and cards, advertisements. So lovely. I'll be using those as well. And of course Tim Holtz. So Tim Holtz does a lot of Victorian inspired things. So tickets, they'll be great in the background of things. Also stamps are really cool too. Great stuff that I would not be able to just source. So those, I've had those, I actually got those at Howard Drapery as well. They had a pack. Isn't that lucky? And I love a map. Do you love a map? I love a map, and I love any typology, those kinds of things. And I know that that's, you know, Tim Holt's sort of area. He loves those things too. If you've ever looked at Tim Holtz on YouTube, he has a tour of his house that he shares with his partner, and wow, they're all the things that I love in that house. Just absolutely gorgeous. So those are going to be definitely used as well. Sorry if you can hear talking in the background, that's my son. He is 15 and it's school holidays, so he is playing on his games with his friends, which is lovely for him. We have an only child, so we only have one child, and he's beautiful, lovely human. So we do encourage him. He's at sport a lot, but on the holidays he gets to do a bit of gaming, so he's very excited about that. So if you hear him in the background, it's him. I'm sure if you have teenagers in your life, you know, res me, all of those kinds of things that happen. No, you know, don't do this, don't do that. You know, they always constantly seem to be yelling at each other, but that's their joy and that's their fun. So what can I say? The other things that I've got are images. These might be a bit too cartoony, but I might not use these ones. There's all different types of ones. I've got a little dog. Can't find them right now. I've got a little dog and a tram. Things that are very quintessential Melbourne. So I live in Melbourne, Australia, and in Victoria, the state of Victoria, and it's just the most beautiful city. I love our city. You'll hear me talk about it a lot. Very, very lucky where I live. So I'll be looking for things that are quintessentially Melbourne and Australia to add, which will be fantastic. And then doilies. So there's always some beautiful things in doilies and handkerchiefs. This one, I lived in China and Taiwan. My husband's a golf pro, and he was the national coach for China and Taiwan. So we lived there before we had our son. We were told we couldn't have kids, so miracle sort of happened, and we naturally had a little boy that we weren't expecting. He's not so little anymore. He's 6'3", 15. Makes me feel very tiny. I've never been called little. I'm quite a tall lady as well, and never been called short in my life, but my son really enjoys going, "Hey shorty," which is really cute. So in this, I'd like to have some things from China added, which is great. There's a temple. I think there's an ox in the Chinese horoscope. I am an ox, you know, strong as an ox and built like one too. So maybe an ox, he's very blue, so I don't know about that, but we'll see. I can thread paint into him as well. So there's that. Then I'll put these ones to the side. I'll talk about those in a sec. Then I also found the so my name's Colette, and I think this will have to make an appearance, and it might be something like, it could be in a compartment, or it could be a beautiful frame around it, or just added behind. And look at this one. Isn't that the most delicate, beautiful thing? Such small, I don't know if you can see that, if that's coming up, but look at the delicate work on that. Wow. Hand done. So that would have to be absolutely a compartment by itself. I don't think I'd do anything but sew that down because it is stunning. And look at this one. I couldn't pass it up. I did pay up a little bit more than I normally do for these. I think they were 2 for $5. but this one was $5 by itself, and I know it's a lot, but isn't that just the most beautiful thing? And I think that would have to be a compartment by itself too, wouldn't it? Just like that. So there'll be things like that that I'll add into the printer's tray. And then, yeah, there was napkins with a tree on it, so I'll add those kinds of things. As I said, these are a bit cartoony, so if I thread paint them, maybe I can make them less cartoony, but I think a bit of difference would be great as well. So there's those that I can add. And then purveyor of textiles is also a Victorian lady. She's beautiful, Mel. You can order from her on her Instagram as well. So she has little things that you can buy packages of, but I think a little strawberry, and this is a basket, and I think the basket, I mean, I'll put flowers or something in it, or but I did want to think about how I could utilize that. So it's an offcut of something, which is lovely. And the other thing that I will be incorporating is, bring this in, do you love a scratch around in things? So this was a little brooch, but really it's just lace that's been stiffened. Someone has embellished and added and then stiffened it. Isn't that beautiful? So that might find its way in there as well. And then at the op shop, thrift store, I got some shells. So I'm thinking about having some compartments of natural things. So there might be some shells making an appearance. These are just beads, glass beads, which are just gorgeous, and I think they look like pearls. So some of those, look at this treasure. I found this that just needs a bit of work, so we might have to add him in as well, which is lovely. I love mother of pearl buttons, so they can make an appearance. I make lots of things with mother of pearl. Don't know if I can get this out without dropping it all. So I make a little posy of buttons, button flowers, and I hang them out of things. And you find these every now and again, little sparkly buttons as well. But these are just mother of pearl buttons. If I find some special ones, I add them, which I just think are lovely. So I just put them in little jars and vases. I collect lots of little things. So bizarre. My son is really loud, so I do apologise if that's picking up on the mic. I have told him to be quiet a number of times, so I do apologise for that. I won't yell out. But lots of little buttons that were just a bit different that I thought I could add. Some shields. I found these that were, there's quite a few of them, that are little threads. So I thought in the basket, not this basket, but I'll make a basket, and I could just do something like fiddly fiddly, little basket of thread, I don't know, maybe. And then there was other ones that were little lion faces, which I just thought were stunning. So I might have to use those. I'm not sure how good the light is today. It keeps going overcast. There were other ones that were St. John's Ambulance Brigade, which is volunteers that go to events and provide first aid. And I used to do that when I was a young thing. My sister made me. I wasn't really into that. My sister's a nurse. That was always going to be her calling and her destiny. So I did that as well. Don't love blood, so challenging. Look at these little filigree buttons. There's lots of different things. I thought maybe these could be, because they feel like felt. So I could put something on those, embellish those in some way possible. I'm not really sure what. Do you love a little scratch around in buttons and beads? I think we all do, don't we? Us ladies and gentlemen who love this kind of thing. So just unique buttons that I see along the way. I picked them up. They're usually pretty inexpensive. These are just some plastic ones, little ducks. I really love a glass bead and a glass button, but I thought some of these plastic ones were so cute, very retro things that we've had when we were kids. And a little hat. How cute is that? So there's lots of little things that I can use, and I'll be using lots of beads as well. Oh, there's pretzels. These pretzels are making me thirsty. If you know that quote, then we can be friends. It's from Seinfeld. So pretzels. So I'm looking for those kinds of things. I'm not wanting to be spending a lot of money. I will be going to thrift stores and picking things up. So yeah, they'll be used as well. I'm thinking of doing a under the sea kind of theme as well, with one particular or a couple of the compartments. So using things like that will be fabulous, I think, as well. And then of course using lots of different DMC threads. These threads are from a beautiful pack that was very, very cheap, different packs that I bought when I was in Harvey Bay at Howard's Drapery. If you see anything you like, I reckon if you gave them a call, they would possibly be able to find and source them for you and maybe ship them if you were in Australia. I'm not sure if they do international shipping, not really sure, but give them a buzz because they are the most lovely women. And they will, I'm sure, try and help you out. So all of those threads, it was Kathy, I hope I'm getting this right, Kathy, at the retreat. Kathy hand dyes all of these. Aren't they beautiful wools? I haven't really ever used wools before, but again, the beautiful Roxy girls were encouraging me to use them. So I'm branching out, ladies. I'm going to do that. I have had a bit of a go at making a few things. Like this was a long time ago. I made this snail. I never finished him because I don't like him. I don't know, he's just not doing it for me. Oh gosh, look at that. But Marion's World, if you don't follow Marion on Marion's World, you should, because she's amazing. And I just saw that she, on her beautiful green coat, linen coat that she has made, she's made a snail, and hers is so good. And I wish I'd seen that previously because I could have followed her tutorial. So something like that make an appearance if I can make them look nicer. So that's the sort of things that I'm thinking. That's what I will go with, and maybe change and take away and add to. And I love a bit of bling and a bit of sparkle, so I'm sure some of those things will make it in, like these little brooches that I found. How much was that one? That was $10. That is because it's sterling silver. And I will wear those. So things like that might make an appearance as well. Lots of lace. I love a bit of lace, and I love trim. So those kinds of things will make their way in. I've got little, little pieces that you have used and then haven't, you've kept. So they'll find a way in, I'm sure, as well. Lots of that lovely stuff will happen too. And I've been using, I haven't done it yet, that's a lie. So steamer seam, you put a little bit of sticky on the back. And you can draw on it, but you can also add cut pieces, and it just stabilizes it a little bit. So some of these pieces of material, particularly this one, because this came off a, what do you call it? Oven mitt. And so see how they're it's not very stable, polyester kind of material. So stabilizing that to be able to sew into it, which will mean I'll have to use a really fine needle, which my fingers will not like. So I'll have to use a fine needle to be able to go through that without perishing the material. But I think if I use some of that steamer seam to stabilize some of those, and then I can just sew to my heart's content, pardon me, and be able to then add them where I want. So what I'll be doing is doing a few different videos of my progress on some of those. We don't know what the Roxy Girls are going to give us as prompts. Don't want to jump the gun because they do beautiful prompts that really get those creative juices and thoughts flowing. So I'm really looking forward to what they could possibly be, and leaving it open enough that I can include some of those prompts and really enjoy the process. I've done some of the Roxy Journal of Stitchery things before, but I've just never filmed them. This is sort of my first foray into filming. So this is one of the bowls. This bowl construction I used to make with my nan all the time. So I got into sewing and crafting and creating because of my nan, who's passed away now. God bless you, Nan. And we used to make bowls all of the time. So we didn't have a lot of money growing up. We had our grandparents living with us, 4 children, and my parents. And we all lived together, which was just a glorious thing to be able to have generations of family in one home. And yeah, I feel very privileged to have had such a close relationship with my grandparents. But my nan was my person, and we used to make these bowls all of the time to put gifts in, or to give as a gift. And yeah, I cherish those kinds of times with my nan, cooking and creating and sewing. So I use that construction method. If you want to see, it's probably not different to what most people are doing, but I'm happy to do one of those. If you're interested as well, let me know. But this is, yeah, one of the Roxy Journal of Stitcheries. I've just added things to it. Sometimes I like the frayed edge, sometimes I like the sewn up edge, but I don't like to do patchworking really. I find it's not a quick enough fix for me, so I add laces to things as well. So I've done a few of them. Happy to do some of these on camera as well. But I really enjoy just sharing some of the joy that I have in creating. So that's my thoughts anyway for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, Volume 8, and these are some of the resources that I think I will use. I hope I will use. But things will change, I'm sure, as we go along, when the beautiful girls give us more inspiration and ideas. So I hope you enjoyed that little introduction of my printer's tray that I'll be doing for Volume 8 and the things that I've collected so far. So I hope you're well, and please take care of yourselves, and thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.